The newborn baby's capacities. Reflexes. A reflex is an inborn automatic response to a particular form of stimulation. Reflexes are the newborn baby's most obvious organized patterns of behavior. As Jay placed Joshua on a table in my classroom, we saw several. When Jay bumped the side of the table, Joshua reacted by flinging his arms wide and bringing them back towards his body. As Yolanda stroked Joshua's cheek, he turned his head in her direction. Look at table 3.4 and see if you can name the newborn reflexes that Joshua displayed. Some reflexes have survival value. The rooting reflex helps a breastfed baby find the mother's nipple. Babies display it only when hungry and touched by another person, not when they touch themselves. At birth, babies adjust their sucking pressure to how easily milk flows from the nipple, and if sucking were not automatic, our species would be unlikely to survive for a single generation. Other reflexes probably aided survival during our evolutionary past. For example, the morrow or embracing reflex is believed to have helped infants cling to their mothers when they were carried about all day. If the baby happened to lose support, the reflex caused the infant to embrace, and along with the palmar grasp reflex, so strong during the first week that it can support the baby's entire weight, regain its hold on the mother's body. Several reflexes help parents and infants establish gratifying interaction. A baby who successfully finds the nipple sucks easily during feedings and grasps when the hand is touched, encourages parents to respond lovingly and feel competence as caregivers. Reflexes can also help caregivers comfort the baby because they permit infants to control distress and amount of stimulation. For example, on outings with Joshua, Yolanda brought along pacifier. If he became fussy, sucking helped quiet him until she could feed, change, or hold him. A few reflexes form the basis for complex motor skills that will develop later. For example, the tonic neck reflex may prepare a baby for voluntary reaching. When infants lie on their backs in this fencing position, they naturally gaze at the hand in front of their eyes. The reflex may encourage them to combine vision with arm movements and eventually reach for objects. Certain reflexes, such as the palmar grasp and stepping, drop out early, but the motor functions involved are renewed later. The stepping reflex, for example, looks like a primitive walking response. In infants who gain weight quickly in the weeks after birth, the stepping reflex drops out because thigh and calf muscles are not strong enough to lift the baby's chubby legs. But if the lower part of the infant's body is dipped in water, the reflex reappears because the buoyancy of the water lightens the load on the baby's muscles. When stepping is exercised regularly, babies make more reflexive stepping movements and are likely to walk several weeks earlier than if stepping is not practiced. However, there is no special need for infants to practice the stepping reflex because all normal babies walk in due time. Refer to table 3.4 again and you will see that most newborn reflexes disappear during the first 6 months due to a gradual increase in voluntary control over behavior as the cerebral cortex develops. Pediatricians test reflexes carefully because reflexes can reveal the health of the baby's nervous system. Weak or absent reflexes, overly rigid or exaggerated reflexes, and reflexes that persist beyond the point in development when they should normally disappear can signal brain damage. Table 3.4. Some newborn reflexes. Eye blink, where the stimulation is that you shine bright light at eyes or clap hand near head. The response should be that the infant quickly closes eyelids. This is a permanent reflex, and its function is that it protects the infant from strong stimulation. Rooting. Stimulation is stroke cheek near corner of mouth. Response should be head turns towards source of stimulation. This disappears at 3 weeks because it becomes voluntary during this time. The function is to help the infant find the nipple. Sucking. Place finger in infant's mouth. And the response should be that the infant sucks finger rhythmically. This is replaced by voluntary sucking after 4 months, and its function is that it permits feeding. Morrow. Hold infant horizontally on back and let head drop slightly or produce a sudden loud sound against surface supporting infant. The infant makes an embracing motion by arching back, extending legs, throwing arms outward, and then bringing arms in toward the body. Disappeared around 6 months, and its function was in the human evolutionary past it may have helped infant cling to mother. Palmar grasp. Place finger in the infant's hand and press against palm. The infant spontaneously grasps the finger. Disappears around 3 to 4 months, and it prepares the infant for voluntary grasping. Tonic neck. Turn baby's head to one side while infant is lying awake on back. Infant lies in a fencing position. One arm is extended in front of eyes on side to which head is turned. Other arm is flexed. Disappear around 4 months, and its function is that it may prepare infant for voluntary reaching. Stepping. Hold infant under arms and permit bare feet to touch a flat surface. Infant lifts one foot after another in stepping response. Disappears around 2 months in infants who gain weight quickly, sustained in lighter infants. Function to prepare infant for voluntary walking. Babinski. Stroke sole of foot from toe toward heel. Toes fan out and curl as foot twists in. Disappears around 8 to 12 months, and its function is still unknown. Extra reading. Social issues, health. A cross-national perspective on healthcare and other policies for parents and newborn babies. Infant mortality, the number of deaths in the first year of life per 1,000 live births, is an index used around the world to assess the overall health of a nation's children. Although the United States has the most up-to-date healthcare technology in the world, it has made less progress in reducing infant deaths than many other countries. Over the past 3 decades, it has slipped in the international rankings from 7th in the 1950s to 39th in 2015. Members of America's poor ethnic minorities are at greatest risk, with African American infants more than twice as likely as white infants to die in the first year of life. Neonatal mortality, the rate of death within the first month of life, accounts for 67% of the infant death rate in the United States. 2 factors are largely responsible for neonatal mortality. The first is serious physical defects, most of which cannot be prevented. The percentage of babies born with physical defects is about the same in all ethnic and income groups. The second leading cause of neonatal mortality is low birth weight, which is largely preventable. Widespread poverty and inadequate healthcare programs for mothers and young children are largely responsible for these trends. In addition to providing government-sponsored healthcare benefits to all citizens, each country in Figure 3.8 that outranks the United States in infant survival takes extra steps to make sure that pregnant mothers and babies have access to good nutrition, high-quality medical care, and social and economic supports that promote effective parenting. For example, all Western European nations guarantee women a certain number of prenatal visits at very low or no cost. After a baby is born, a healthy professional routinely visits the home to provide counseling about infant care and to arrange continuing medical services. Home assistance is especially expensive in the Netherlands. For a token fee, each mother is granted a specially trained maternity helper who assists with infant care, shopping, housekeeping, meal preparation, and the care of other children for 8 to 10 days after delivery. Paid job-protected employment leave is another vital societal intervention for new parents. Sweden has the most generous parental leave program in the world. Mothers can begin maternity leave 60 days prior to expected delivery, extending it to 6 weeks after birth. Fathers are granted 2 weeks of birth leave. In addition, either parent can take full leave of 15 months at 80% of prior earnings, followed by an additional 3 months at a modest flat rate. Each parent is also entitled to another 18 months of unpaid leave. Even economically less well-off nations provide parental leave benefits. In Bulgaria, new mothers are granted 11 months paid leave and fathers receive 3 weeks. Furthermore, many countries supplement basic paid leave. In Germany, for example, after a fully paid 3-month leave, a parent may take 1 more year at a flat rate and additional leave at no pay until the child reaches age 3. Yet, in the United States, the federal government mandates only 12 weeks of unpaid leave for employees in companies with at least 50 workers. Most women, however, work in smaller businesses, and many of those who work in large enough companies cannot afford to take unpaid leave, and because of financial pressures, many new mothers who are eligible for unpaid work leave take far less than 12 weeks. Similarly, though paternal leave predicts fathers' increased involvement in infant care at the end of the first year, many fathers take little or none at all. In 2002, California became the first state to guarantee a mother or father paid leave up to 6 weeks at half salary, regardless of the size of the company. Since then, the District of Columbia, Hawaii, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Washington, and the territory of Puerto Rico has passed similar legislation. Nevertheless, 6 weeks of childbirth leave, the norm in the United States, is not enough. Leaves of 6 to 8 weeks or less are linked to increased maternal anxiety, depression, sense of role overload such as conflict between work and family responsibilities, and negative interactions with the baby. A leave of 12 weeks or more predicts favorable maternal physical and mental health, supportive marital interaction, and sensitive caregiving. Single women and their babies are most hurt by the absence of a generous national paid leave policy. These mothers, who are usually the sole source of support for their families, can least afford to take time from their jobs. In countries with low infant mortality rates, expectant parents need not wonder how or where they will get health care and how resources to support their baby's development. The powerful impact of universal high-quality health care, generous parental leave, and other social services on maternal and infant well-being provide strong justification for these policies. Responding to all these findings, the Affordable Care Act provides generous grants to U.S. states to cover the cost of evidence-based home visiting programs that provide comprehensive services to mothers, infants, and young children in high-risk families.